welcome back to another Higher Talk. Higher Talk number 13. Okay, so there's so many places we could go. There are so many conversations that we could have. And if you remember, when we started, we went into the idea that everything has meaning. Everything is deep. Words have meaning. And we slowly went up and built our way into understanding that we are on this world as souls. We are human beings walking around, and we see the reality in front of us as real. Everything we touch, everything we see is exactly the way it is, and that's where we have a lot of stress, and that's where we don't want to be in. We feel like, why do I need to make money in order to have food? Why do I need to go through hard times in order to get myself into find a place where I could relax? Because relaxation is just me not being stressed. How can I be in a place where my relaxation is because I'm happy? I'm so happy, so I'm relaxed because of it. I don't want to get to relaxation because I finally don't have stress. So the topic of today's shir is going to be stress. First thing, as we spoke about many times, in order to become a better person, and we start going into the mind and dealing with the things, with the programs that we are set up as, or set up with throughout our lifetime, throughout the parents we grew up with, and the friends that we had, and the places that we went, and the things that we saw, and the ideas that we learned. All of those things shaped us, and we become the person that all those ideas put together, and that's what we are. And we want to go to a place where we could be stress-free from all of those facts that we know. All of those facts that we know is like when it rains outside, we get wet, and we want to escape the idea that I don't want to get wet in the rain anymore. That's basically what we're saying, and you can see how dumb it sounds. It's like you're trying to run away from stress. That's not the point over here. We learned all those things. We see the reality of the world. We gain a perspective on the world in order to be the person that could work through that stress. Okay? So as we said, we gain an awareness. When we start working through our work, our life, we start putting an awareness towards things. So the first step that a person would want to do when they get totally lost is they want to get rid of everything that stresses them out. And in order to get rid of that, you have to place an awareness to the things that actually stress you out. If driving in traffic stresses me out, and it's just I can't do it, and even if I had a great day, if I come home and I can't find parking, it's my family that's going to get the wrath because I just wasted 15 minutes of my precious time doing what? Being angry. So if it's that precious, you wouldn't allow yourself to become so angry. You would actually say it's precious time. So you know what? I'll be okay with it. And that's where we want to get to. But we're stuck in the reality. We know things the way we see it. We've seen our parents do this. We've seen people around us do this. Everyone is honking, so why should I not be honking? And we don't even think of there's another option. There may be another way. There may be another way over here. So we put an awareness to the fact that every time I look for parking, I get stressed out. Every time I open my bank account, I get stressed out. And so next time when this action is about to take place, when this trigger is about to come up, meaning, let's say you get stressed out when a certain person comes over, and your wife tells you, guess what? We're having guests. Who's coming? That person. So instead of being pulled into that stress, you put a stop and you say, hey, wait a second, let's break it up and let's put something in. Let's put a break inside, and that break is called an awareness. But awareness is not good enough. Awareness is just me saying, I know that this is going to get me upset. And then the next step is getting upset, right? So we don't want that. We don't want to get upset. We have to put an awareness and implement a new way of thought or a new action. As my friend told me, I think we've mentioned him once, Yaakov. Yaakov tells me it's not about just setting an awareness and putting in a new thought, because a lot of people like you or anyone, they don't have the capacity to think and come up with a new way of thinking, right? So someone's going to come here, make me upset, so now I'm going to start thinking differently. Instead of getting upset, I'm going to think in my mind, oh, raindrops and gumdrops and roses. We can't start thinking about that. We usually just go back to the stress. We try thinking about something nice, and we end up just saying, after a couple of seconds thinking that, it's like it doesn't even work. So we need to really work hard in order to give ourselves a way of thinking, which is, you know what, this person is coming, this is what Hashem wants from me. This is what I'm going to do, so I'm going to do His will, and I'm going to spend time with this person. Hashem wants me to be with this person. Hopefully the words that come out of my mouth will be good. To create such a thought and actually stick to it requires a lot of work. And it seems like, to me, not to brag or anything, but rather actually just as an example, it's been a while that I've just been talking in such a way and thinking that, I have to explain things like, this is what you have to do, like I see it clearly, and it's just to tell you, just in a year or two, this is how your mind will just go automatically. You'll be able to take a thought and just slow it down and say, hey, I see what's happening here, but this is what Hashem wants. Or I see what's happening here, I will be calm this time, and I am committed to this calmness. No, not even bringing Hashem into it, just saying, I'm going to be committed to this calmness, even though this is what I have to deal with. But getting to this level requires a lot of work, a lot of falling and, yes, getting upset and saying, next time I'll do better, next time I'll do better, until finally you get to this place. So Yaakov tells me that what a person should do is, when they put that awareness in, they should also make a little action that goes along with it. You have to create it from the bottom up. So you take that awareness, and then you go and you do a positive action, which is, maybe you say, I'm going to breathe for 10 seconds, for a minute. I'm going to go for a walk for 5 minutes and listen to a nice song. Or I'm going to go and call somebody and just to check up on them. Whatever, just a little action. And sometimes the action could be, I'm going to go and clean up my desk. I'm going to go and put on tefillin, say tehillim, whatever it is. I'm just going here, I'm giving you a whole bunch of ideas, but just go and take anything and start doing an action. So when this awareness comes up of stress, you're going to do this. When I'm in the car and there's traffic, and I start feeling like this is really going to get to me, then you just sit down in the car and you say, what is my little action that I could do in the car right now to get my mind off it? And not just to get my mind off it, to get my mind calm enough that I shouldn't even remember to think about the stress in a few minutes. And if I do think about it, I'll just be like, listen, this is what it is. I'm in a calm place, and it's going to take some time until you build back up. You'll need people to cut you off, or you'll have to be there for another 45 minutes for it to start ticking again. But you have to give yourself that little action that calms you down, that takes you away from stress. So step one is, we want to get rid of the stress. We're looking to say, I'm done with going through this problem. So no more stress in my life. And it sounds beautiful. And actually, it is a real calm place. But it's calm, not because you're floating in the water, it's because you're standing on the ground. You're standing on the ground in the shallow side of the pool, and nothing's really threatening you. You're not going to drown, and the weather is nice, and there's no stress around. Everything is good. So is there a point in standing there the entire day, or just having your ankles in the water and just, I'm good, I'm not drowning, you see, I'm a great swimmer? No, you're not a great swimmer, you're just standing in a little bit of water. It's like standing in a puddle. The point eventually is to get to a place where we could start allowing stress to come back to us. And when these stresses come back to us, there won't even be a thought of becoming upset. I want to get to a place that I will open my bank account. I want to get to a place where I'm going to be in traffic, where I'm going to look for parking, where I'm going to have to deal with these people that I don't have patience for, and or a boss, or going, like, whatever it may be, and it won't even come to my head to be like, I'm upset. Maybe the thought, I used to be so upset in such places, but wait a second, it's the same stress. I'm willing to accept the stress of the problem. I'm willing to put myself into them, because I know I'm going to be calm. I know I'm going to be relaxed, because I have so many things to do. I have so many things to keep myself occupied. I've prepared myself beforehand I've worked hard throughout the last couple of years for me to be this person in this situation. And then as you grow, you start adding more and more stress to yourself. The point is not to have stress. The point is to see how much stress you could carry. How much stress can you have coming towards you, pushing you? You're trying to go and there's just a stress test. It's just pushing you back. How much could you push? How strong are you to be able to continue going? How much can you carry on your back? How much can you climb with all this weight pulling you down? Yeah, so stress is more of pushing you down, but yeah, this is pulling you down, and that's what we're trying to be. We're not trying to be beta people who just cry for everything and just and don't want to deal with anything. Because the second stress is going to come up, the second you face the real world. Let's say your parents tell you there's going to be the wedding and you have to be there for pictures exactly at 6 o'clock, and which means you have to sit in traffic now. You have to make sure your entire family is ready. There's so many things that fall in under this deadline that there's so much stress. You won't know how to deal with it. You know why? Because you've taken away times of stress. You decided, I'm not going on the road anymore because I don't want to be in traffic. You decided not to move your car anymore because you don't want to look for parking. And you're isolating yourself from other people because you don't want to get into conversations that you don't want to have. So you're basically becoming a lone wolf, and a lone wolf is not tested. You don't know if this wolf is strong or not because he's never had a fight. He never had to go through anything. So the point is to actually get ourselves into a place of stress. We have to go out to work. We have to put our muscles to the test. Yeah, we have to put just like when we go and try to build something, we have to put our muscles to the test. When we try to go through life, we have to put our feelings, our intellect, and our soul into it, so we could say, yes, I'm going to get through this, and I'll ace it. I'll work through my stress. So I recently heard that stress used to be a word in buildings. Like we used to make a stress test, like can the building hold it? And then the 1970s and 80s, 90s, that's when things started becoming like. So we started applying the word stress to people. And the way it works is when somebody goes through, let's say, a very tough authoritative state. He goes through yeshiva, let's say, or very tough school, and the principal, the Rosh Yeshiva, the Mashgiach, the Dean, they're just very tough and very strict. Even though they've taught you good things, when we leave this place, we want to shed ourselves from everything that this authority gave us. Not because we want to get rid of everything, it's because we want to get rid of them. And we think that their grip is following us with all of these details. Not just with the waking up on time and the way we dress and the things that we eat and the things that we smoke, and not just in that area and the cars that we drive, but also in the area of the good things. How much you should learn during the day, and how much you should daven during the day, how much mitzvah, chesed, and connection to Hashem. We get rid of all of that because it's attached to Him. Because every time I sing by the Shabbos meal, I think about Him telling me to sing. Although it was the most beautiful thing that He could have ever told me to do. It's a really nice thing to do, so why not? But when we apply everything to Him, we want to get rid of Him. So we get rid of everything. And then slowly we have to come back and start taking back the good parts. And saying, yes, I'm going to do all these good things because it has no connection to this guy. It has a connection to God. So when stress was applied to the human, we started seeing stress. We started applying it to things that we already had. Okay, the word stress was put onto us, and now we said, okay, what translates into stress? And let's say if a kid does something bad, a kid does something that he shouldn't be doing, or you've asked the kid 10 times, please don't do this, please don't do this, and they don't listen. They come and you tell them you need quiet, and they come bang down your door. When we become stressed because of that, when we become angry and we just tell them, stop it, I asked you so many times, don't bother me, we name that stress as well. But the fact is, that's not stress. That is something that we say, oh, I'm trying to live, but I'm so stressed because my kids are just a pain. This is after a week and a half vacation, so don't judge me for the words I'm using here. But I know none of you are judging. You're all good people. But we start applying the things that we do in our life all the time, and we say, this is stressful. This is something I don't want. So we start neglecting things. We start pulling ourselves away from places that we should be part of. We want to be around our kids. It's the best thing we could ever do. Yes, the best things are the hardest things. And since they are our full time, they take away that time, the minutes of our life, of my selfish life, and I have to give it to them. Yes. we are not selfish. We are builders. We are people who go and take things from one level and take it to the next. We take our life and we pass it on to the next life. That's essentially what we're doing here. Yeah? Okay, so you have people driving and delivering boxes, they're taking care of the day-to-day because every minute needs to be filled up, and there's a lifestyle, there's a life that we have to live, which is in the background. But really, the actual work we're doing is basically taking the world from last year to next year, and from the beginning to the end. That's what we're doing. So we want to be in this place. We want to be in the place where we tell our kids, please don't bother me. Yeah, it's not called stress. It's just part of raising children. Because if you want to get rid of your children, you'll be like this couple that sit down on the couch and they're like, you know, I decided I don't want to have any kids. And the wife says, you know, I thought about it too. Kids are just going to take away our time. They're going to be so noisy. They're going to be eating up all of our money. It's going to be a headache. And, you know, if they do something bad, it's our reputation that goes. I also don't want to have kids. And the husband is like, so, listen, if this is what we both want, you know, let's shake on it. So the husband and wife get up. And they turn around to their kids and say, get out of the house. So we don't want to be that type of guy. We want to go through, we want to have the kids and see the pride and raise them and watch them grow and becoming these strong people who will do the same for the next generation and even better. This is what we want. So the stress that comes along with it, what we named stress, the things that we have to go through, those are just part of the work. This is just like when you're trying to fill out a form and there are just basically 10 pages you have to go through. At page 5, you're like, can I get this done with? Yes, you could, but you have to go through it. This is what you're doing. This is what we're doing in this world. This is what we're working towards. So, accept it. Take it in. Stop naming it stress. Tell your mind, this is not stress. This is something I am doing, and this is something I want to do. So, in conclusion, we started off that we have a lot of stress in our life and we want to deal with it. But then, as we move on with life, we start seeing that there aren't really stresses that we have to deal with. There are things that we get ourselves involved in, and these subjects have their ups and have their downs. And when you want to reach the goal of this particular subject, which be it kids, be it money, be it relationships, be it whatever, be it your own personal growth, getting to that finish line requires you to burn fuel. It requires you to go through times that you'll be stuck in the mud. That's just what it is. It's not called stress. Stress is when you put a building or you try climbing up and that force pulling you down. That's called stress. And we applied that idea onto life, but life is just like a mountain. The scientific term of not being able to climb up a mountain is stress. The scientific term of a building weighing in on itself is called stress. But doing life is not called stress. And I don't know how much I could stress this idea. And when we start thinking about it that way, things will start looking up. Change the way you think about it, because words have meaning. And when you add the proper meaning, when you apply it properly and you walk the walk and you think properly, this is the result. The result is that the things that used to be stressful will no longer be stressful because they're no longer a stress. They are things that you want to do and things that you anticipated that will be coming in the future. So that's my piece for today. I appreciate you listening and joining. I hope you learned something and take it to heart and make that difference. You know, it might be hard. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of focus. But it's definitely worth it. It's the best thing you could do for yourself. So take care. If you want to hear more, watch more videos of mine. If you want to read my books, please. There are so many different subjects that you could get into. Either just beauty in Judaism, Tehillim Legacy Journal, and my Shabbos papers. Hopefully, I'll be publishing something soon. And also, you know, I'm just going to leave this little clue over here for the future. That my writings, I wrote a book, and then I write my Shabbos papers, which are my journal. Basically, I write something on the Parsha, but I write a lesson that I learned that week, throughout the week, things that I've thought about. And basically, I write my goals in the book, but then throughout the year, I write the actual journey in my Shabbos papers, and then I write another book. And throughout, if you read it in the proper order, like when I wrote this book, and then you read the Shabbos papers, and then you read my second book, and then you read the things that I wrote in between, as in the poetry and stuff, you could see, oh wow, here's where he is now. So it's all journaled nicely. Hopefully I'll be able to put it in a type of order somewhere. But in either case, here it is. That's my secret. Alright, wonderful. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be in touch. Thank you. Have fun.